Hi, this is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com. Welcome to the South Carolina College Baseball video recap for Sunday, May the 11th. Happy Mother's Day to those of you who qualify. There are only 5 games involving state teams played on Sunday. Let's take a look at what happened. Over at Clemson, Jake Hyde hit 2-run homers in both the 4th and 5th innings, and Duke rallied to beat Clemson by a score of 8-4 to win the rubber game of that ACC series. With that win, Duke improved to 35-16 overall and 16-11 in the ACC. Clemson fell to 38-15 and 15-12. Dominic Leasty and Luke Gaffney had 2 hits apiece for the Tigers. Gaffney drove in 2 runs. Up in Cullowhee, the Citadel scored 5 runs in the 8th inning and held on to salvage the final game of the SoCon series at Western Carolina. That score was 9-7. The Bulldogs got 4 hits from Travis Elliott. In fact, Elliott's 4th hit of the game gave the Bulldogs a 1-run lead. Then Garrett Dill added another hit to give them a 2-run lead, and they held on to win. With that win, the Bulldogs are now 27-23 overall, 10-8 in the SoCon. Western fell to 26-25 and 8-10. By the way, T.J. Anderson had a 3-run double to tie the score in that 8th inning to set up the big winning rally. Elsewhere, Alex Lacoste hit his first 2 home runs of the season, and College of Charleston completed a Coastal Athletic Association sweep of North Carolina A&T with a run rule win of 12-2 in 8 innings. The Cougars improved to 31-19 overall, 13-11 in the CAA. They've won 6 straight conference games after going through a 6-game conference losing streak earlier. Avery Neves had a single and a homer to drive in 3 runs. He also walked. And Darian Pendergrass had a big day. He had a single, a home run, 2 stolen bases, a walk, 3 runs scored, and 2 RBIs for the Cougars. Charleston's now 31-19 overall, 13-11 in the CAA. A&T, which is coached by former Clemson player Ben Hall, by the way, is 15-34 and 9-15. Up in Johnson City, Tennessee, Grant Gallagher's 2-run single in the 3rd inning gave East Tennessee State the lead for good, and the Buccaneers went on to beat Wofford by a score of 9-3 in the Southern Conference. That gave the Buccaneers a 2-1 series win, moved them in position for their first conference regular season championship in 43 years. East Tennessee State is now 37-13 overall, 13-5 in the SoCon. Wofford fell to 29-24 and 6-12. For the Terriers, Lucas Manning was 3 for 4 with an RBI. Radford took advantage of a couple of Winthrop misplays in the outfield, scored 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th, and completed a Big South Conference sweep. That score was 12-11. Watched bits and pieces of the games yesterday and today, and apparently Winthrop just had a horrible time on defense with some misplays in the outfield, some dropped foul balls, etc., that helped keep the bats alive, and Radford was able to take advantage of it. Radford's now 27-23 in the Big South, 27-23 overall, 13-8 in the Big South. Winthrop is 11-10 in the Big South and 27-25 overall. Ethan Wilson was 2 for 4 with a walk, 2 stolen bases, and 2 runs scored for the Eagles. There was one more game scheduled to be played on Sunday. That was Game 3 of the NCJAA East District Tournament down in Florence. Unfortunately, it got rained out. Hartford Community College and Florence Georgia Tech will now play Game 3 on Tuesday, not Monday. Apparently, the rain's going to be bad on Monday as well. And they're going to play it at Patriots Point, the home field for the College of Charleston. The best of 3 series is tied at 1-1. The winner of that game on Tuesday advances to Grand Junction, Colorado, and the Junior College World Series later on this month. How about in the ACC on Sunday? Easy for me to say. Boston College beat UMass 5-0 in a non-conference game. Florida beat California. Still having a terrible day. Florida State beat California 5-1. Georgia Tech beat Louisville twice in Danny Hall's final regular season ACC home game. The Yellow Jackets won Game 1 6-0. Game 2 2-1. Notre Dame beat Bowling Green 4-0. Virginia completed a series sweep of Miami 8-6. Virginia Tech beat Mercer 6-5. Wake Forest beat Pitt 6-3 to take that series 2-1. Stanford beat Grand Canyon 16-15 in 10 innings, and the NC State at North Carolina series finale was canceled because of weather. ACC standings through Sunday with one more week of play to go. Florida State is 16-8. NC State is a half game back at 16-9. Georgia Tech is at 17-10. North Carolina is at 16-10. Duke is at 16-11. Virginia is at 14-10. Clemson is now at 15-12. Miami is at 14-12. Louisville is at 14-13, as is Wake Forest. Notre Dame is at 12-15. Virginia Tech 11-16. Pitt is at 10-17. Boston College also at 10-17. Stanford is 9-18, and Cal is 7-20. Well, how about the final regular season series next weekend in the ACC? Clemson's at Pitt. Kind of a favorable draw, but they still got to win to finish out strongly in the ACC. Boston College is at California. Georgia Tech is at Duke. North Carolina is at Florida State. Notre Dame is at Miami. Stanford is at NC State. Virginia is at Virginia Tech. And Wake Forest is at Louisville. How about in the SEC on Sunday? Alabama completed a win over Georgia. Again, it started on Friday. They tried to play Saturday, got rained out. Crimson Tide held on to win that game 9-3. Then came back and won the scheduled game 5-4. Arkansas beat LSU 7-4. Florida got a series win over Texas 4-1. Kentucky got a series win over Oklahoma 7-2. And how about Missouri? Tigers lose their first 24 SEC games, and this weekend they sweep the preseason #1 Texas A&M by a score of 10-0 today. Kendall Rogers of D1Baseball.com says the Aggies are in severe danger of being the first preseason #1 team in 35 years to not make it to the NCAA playoffs. Of course, they could win the SEC tournament and do that, but the way the Aggies are playing right now, who knows? How about the SEC standings? Texas is at 20-7. Arkansas is 2 games back at 18-9. LSU is at 17-10. Georgia, Auburn, and Vanderbilt are at 16-11. Tennessee and Alabama are at 15-12. Ole Miss is at 14-13. Oklahoma is at 13-14, as are Florida and Kentucky. Mississippi State is 12-15. Texas A&M is 10-17. South Carolina is 5-22, and Missouri is 3-24 and only 2 games back of the Gamecocks if something that should happen in the final weekend. Well, let's look at that final weekend schedule. LSU's at South Carolina. Alabama's at Florida. Auburn is at Ole Miss. Kentucky is at Vanderbilt. Mississippi State is at Missouri. Tennessee is at Arkansas. Texas is at Oklahoma. And Texas A&M is at Georgia. By the way, in both the ACC and the SEC, all 8 games, all 8 series in each league are Thursday through Saturday series. That's what they've been doing for several years now to give their pitching staff one more day's worth of rest at the conference tournament. By the way, conference tournaments for both the ACC and SEC begin next Tuesday, which would be the 20th. There are 16-team single elimination tournaments in both areas this year. Something new since both schools expanded. So that's something to look forward to. That's the schedules, scores, and all for our Sunday. One other bit of news: the NCAA Division II playoff field will be announced tonight at 10:30. They'll be streaming it at NCAA.com. North Greenville Lander has qualified by winning the the Peach Belt Conference tournament. They swept Columbus State in that. North Greenville and Francis Marion are hoping to get at-large bids. It's an 8-team regional in the southeast. They actually would probably have 2 4-team regionals, then a super regional to get past that. As of the last official NCAA rankings released this past midweek, Catawba's #1. That won't change. They beat Lenore Ryan 2 games to win the South Atlantic Conference Tournament Championship. Lenore Ryan's at 2nd. Young Harris 3. Belmont Abbey 4. They kind of threw gummed up the works by winning the Conference Carolinas tournament. They were down, but now they got an automatic bid. Catawba, Belmont Abbey, and Lander with the automatic bids. North Greenville is ranked 5th. North Georgia 6th. Carson Newman 7th. Lander 8th, and Francis Marion 9th. Now, Francis Marion is probably sweating it a little bit. I don't know how they will come along picking out that the full field is how they'll go. But Francis Marion, unfortunately, could be on the outside looking in. We'll have to see. Like I say, it's going to be streaming at NCAA.com at 10:30. Excuse me. For now, this is Rudy Jones of Palmetto State Baseball saying this is the South Carolina College Baseball video recap for Sunday, May the 11th. I hope you mothers out there had a great Mother's Day, and we'll start doing some more updates on my website on Monday. You can follow me on Palmetto Base at X, and good night, and Jesus loves you.